welcome to my video lecture. So yesterday we had started with the human circulatory system, correct? And I hope that everybody is clear about yesterday's lecture and none of you are having doubts. Today we are going to start with external structure of the heart. We are just going to complete that part. There are many new words which you will have to remember in this, so that is why I am not including internal structure with this. Okay, I could have completed external and internal in the same lecture, but then it will become too much for you. So today we are just going to see external structure of the heart. Okay, we are going to see all the parts. I have already taught you the general anatomy of the heart. That is going to be very useful because that is going to make things easier for you. Okay, so let us start. Now, in external structure of the heart, basically you are going to learn all the parts which are present on the outside of the heart. Okay, you will be learning about all the parts like atria, ventricles. You will be learning about the walls which are present between all these chambers. Also, you will be learning about the blood vessels. That is the most important part. All vena cavas, aorta, okay, coronary, artery, coronary veins, everything you will be learning about in this lecture. Okay, so first of all, let us start with the external structure. Now, first thing which is there in the external structure, first we have to see what are the different parts of the heart. When you see the heart from outside, which are the parts? So now you already know there are two superior chambers, the chambers which are present above, which are called as atria, and there are two inferior chambers. Inferior means something which is below. So please remember this. Superior is something which is above. Similarly, inferior is something which is below. So which are the chambers which are superior? Both the atria are superior. Which are the chambers which are inferior? Both the ventricles, okay, they are inferior or they are below. Is this clear? So now let us start with this part. Okay, so I am going to sketch this structure of the heart. Okay, in your book a 3D diagram is given. It looks very complicated because all the labelings they have done. We will slowly see what are the different parts. Okay, so now first of all, the right side of the heart, which is dealing with the deoxygenated blood, I am going to sketch in blue. Okay, because I want to show that it is deoxygenated blood. And the left side of the heart, which deals with oxygenated blood, I am going to sketch in red. Okay, so it becomes easy to understand. Now let us start. So this is how your heart looks. Okay, when you see it sideways or when you see it from the front, this is how your heart looks. Okay, now what I am going to do is I am just going to draw the boundaries present. Okay, first boundary is present between these two atria. So what I am going to do is I am going to use a separate color, or I will use the same color. I will use the blue color ink and I am going to draw this boundary. Okay. Similarly, there is a boundary between the atria and the ventricles. Okay, so now I am drawing external structure of the heart. So I am not going to show the valves. Tricuspid valve, bicuspid valve, they are present inside the heart. So that we will study in the internal structure. So when you are drawing the external structure, don't show the valves. You just have to show the wall. So the wall will be like this. Similarly, between the atria, left atrium and the left ventricle, the wall will be. So the wall actually goes like this. Okay, it's slightly tilted towards the left side, and this is the wall. And finally, you have the wall between both the ventricles. Okay, and again that wall is going to be like this. Now again you will say that the left ventricle is appearing smaller. It is not smaller. The heart is slightly shifted. Okay, the view that you are seeing is not exactly from the front. It is slightly tilted towards the left. That is why. So is this clear? Okay. So this is your left atrium. I should be using the red color over here so that it becomes easy. Okay. This is your left atrium, this is your left ventricle, you know that. This is your right atrium, this is your right ventricle. Now, so first thing in the external structure of the heart is you have to explain what are these chambers. So first of all, the superior chambers are the ones which are present on the top, and these are called as atria. Okay, so this is your left atrium. It is also called as left auricle. This is your, sorry, see, I made this mistake, so don't make this mistake. This is not left atrium, this is right atrium. This part is the left atrium. Okay, this part is the left ventricle, and this part is the right ventricle. Okay, so first of all, the superior chambers are the atria, the inferior chambers are the ventricles. That is the first thing that you will have to describe if this question is asked. Explain the external structure of the heart. Clear? Okay. Now, obviously you also have to describe that atria are smaller size chambers, ventricles are larger chambers, but out of all these four chambers, which one is the largest? The largest is the left ventricle. Why? Because left ventricle has to pump blood to all the parts of the body except the lungs. This sentence is given in the textbook. Why not the lungs? Because when the oxygenated blood is coming from the pulmonary veins, the oxygenation is occurring in the lungs, and lungs are getting that oxygenated blood. So when this left ventricle pumps the blood through the aorta, the blood will go to all the parts of the body but not the lungs, because lungs में already उनको मिल गया है वो जब oxygenation हुआ था. समझ रहे हो आप? So that is the case. So is this clear? So largest chamber is this chamber. So you have explained all the chambers. Now next part that you have to explain are these walls which are present. Very important part. Okay, I have already told you in that general anatomy lecture that these walls are called as what? They are called as septum. You remember that I said that septum is a singular word and the plural is septa. Now, these walls have three different names. You can use any name. You can call the wall as septum, or you can call the wall as groove, or you can call the wall as sulcus. See, there are three words, because in your book they may have used any of these words, so I don't want you to get confused. Each of these wall which is present between any two chambers, it can be called as a septum, or it can be called as a groove, or it can be called as a sulcus. For example, if you are talking about these two walls, this one and this one, then these walls are present between the atrium and the ventricle. Obviously this one between right atrium and right ventricle, this one between left atrium and left ventricle. So these walls, they can be called as what? They can be called as, see, atrioventricular septum. This I have already taught you. Or you can call these walls, see, why am I writing atrioventricular? Because the wall is present between the atrium and the ventricle. Similarly, this is present between atrium and ventricle. So it is atrioventricular septum, or it is atrioventricular groove, or it is called as atrioventricular sulcus. Is this clear? If you see in your book, they have given the word atrioventricular groove. It is the same thing. You can use septum also, you can use sulcus also. So you can use three different words for the walls which are separating the two chambers. Okay, clear? I am talking about these two walls right now. You can use the word septum, groove or sulcus. Just write atrioventricular in the front. Now, this wall also has another specific name. It is also called as, so these three names are already there, but this and this wall are also called as coronary sulcus. Please remember this word. Okay, this and this are also called as coronary sulcus. So now you can call these walls by four different names. I am talking about this and this. Either you call it atrioventricular groove or sulcus or septum, or you call it coronary sulcus. Okay. Now I will tell you why it is called as coronary sulcus later on. Now let us move to this. We have finished with these two walls. Now this wall is present between the two atria, correct? Now in your book they have not given anything about this wall, but since you are explaining the external structure, obviously you have to explain it. So this wall will be called as what? It is present between two atria. So now it will be called as what? So I am rubbing this off. Now the wall present between the right atrium and the left atrium, it can be called as interatrial. Interatrial between two atria. Again, you can use any of the words. You can use septum, or you can use interatrial sulcus, or you can use interatrial groove. Is this clear? So there are three names for this. There are four names for this. Why I am telling you this? Because when you see in the textbook you will get confused. अरे एक जगह पे groove है, एक जगह पे sulcus है, एक जगह पे septum है, तो confuse मत होना, सबका meaning एक ही है. आपको ये आगे का part याद रखना है. If it is between the two atria, it is interatrial. If it is between the atrium and the ventricle, it is atrioventricular. And now if it is between the two ventricles, it is interventricular. Very simple. So is this clear? Now we come to this wall. What will be the name? Now instead of interatrial, I will write down this wall as interventricular. Again the same thing. Either it is septum, either it is sulcus, or it is a groove. Is this clear? So after you explain the chambers of the heart, you have to explain these walls of the heart. Now coming back to the point, why is this and this also called as coronary sulcus? Coronary sulcus means that from these walls the coronary arteries and the coronary veins pass. See, coronary artery and coronary veins, they basically pass from this area and this area. So ये जो walls है ना, वो walls के अंदर एक depression है. मतलब कि अगर ये मैं हार्ट को ऐसे घुमा देता हूं, यू आर वॉचिंग दिस डायग्राम फ्रॉम द फ्रंट. सपोज अगर मैं यहां से देखता हूं साइडवेज, तो सेम डायग्राम इफ यू ट्राई टू सी फ्रॉम साइडवेज एंड सपोज यू आर वॉचिंग दिस डायग्राम फ्रॉम हियर, सो ऑब्वियसली आपको राइट एट्रियम एंड राइट वेंट्रिकल दिखेगा. देन दिस एरिया ना, इट विल लुक लाइक दिस. So this is your right atrium, this is your right ventricle. Now you are seeing from the side. तो this wall, it is this wall. ये जो atrioventricular groove है वो ये है. You can see this depression अंदर की तरफ जा रहा है. So each of these walls ना, it is going slightly ऐसा depression है. And what happens is because of the depression there is additional space over here, और ये space में आपके coronary artery और coronary veins जाता है. आप समझ रहे हो ये? So because of this depression, the wall is also called as a groove. What is the meaning of a groove? Groove means that there is this structure, then there is depression, again there is this structure. So that is why these walls are also called as grooves. खड्डा है बीच में, आप समझ रहे हो क्या? So that is when you look at it sideways. So why is this called coronary sulcus? Because coronary artery and coronary veins travel. Okay, now coronary artery का काम क्या है? I have already told you this. See, the left ventricle pumps oxygenated blood from the aorta, and that blood will go to all the parts of the body because all the parts of the body require oxygen. But what about the heart? Heart also requires oxygen, no? Heart is also having muscle, heart is also having cells. What will supply oxygen to the heart? So specially for the heart, there is a special artery which supplies oxygenated blood, that is called coronary artery. Okay, coronary artery heart को oxygenated blood supply करता है. So that coronary artery, it is present in this wall, it is present in this wall. Similarly, it is present in this wall, it is present in this groove. Similarly, when the oxygen is used up by the cells of the heart, carbon dioxide is given out, it goes into the blood is deoxygenated. So now the deoxygenated blood, it has to be removed. So how will it be removed? So from the heart the deoxygenated blood is removed by coronary vein. So देखो, for the heart there are separate vessels for giving oxygenated blood and for removing deoxygenated blood. For the rest of the body, the oxygenated blood goes from the aorta and other arteries, and deoxygenated blood comes from superior and inferior vena cava. Is this clear? Heart के खुद के लिए अलग चीजें हैं, coronary artery, coronary vein. They pass through these walls. They do not pass from here. They pass through these walls. That is why this and these are called as coronary sulcus. Okay, this is not called coronary sulcus. Again, you might ask me कि अरे इधर से भी जा रहा है तो इसको coronary sulcus नहीं. Now it is not given that name, so just remember this and this are also called as coronary sulcus. Is this clear? Is this part of walls clear? These are the four walls of the heart. Okay. Now the last thing that we need to know and the most important thing in the external structure is the blood vessels. Now in your book now, the way they have explained it is slightly confusing. So how will you remember which blood vessels you have to write? I will use this simple logic. I will go to each chamber. First I will go to right atrium. I will write about the vessels. Then I will go to right ventricle. I will write about the vessels. Then left atrium, left ventricle. So in that way you will remember all the vessels. In your book they have explained both the vessels of ventricles first. Then they have explained atrium. Don't make it confusing. एक के बाद एक पे जाते हैं, सब vessels cover कर देंगे. Okay. So let us start with the vessels now in the external structure. Okay. First we are going to take into account the right atrium. Now, which blood vessels are attached to the right atrium? Very simple. You know the vena cava are attached to the right atrium, correct? So what happens is this vena cava, it is present behind the heart. It goes like this. Okay, this is your vena cava. It is passing behind the atria and the ventricle, the right one, and this one which is present on the top. So this opens over here. This is your opening of the superior vena cava, and this one, it goes and it opens over here. It is opening from the back. So this is inferior vena cava. So which blood vessels you will write about in the right atrium? You will write about the superior and inferior vena cava. This is your superior vena cava, and the blood will flow in the downward direction. It will get deoxygenated blood from your head, from your neck, and from your upper torso or the chest. Similarly, this inferior vena cava will get blood from the part which is below your chest, all the body parts, your abdomen, your legs, okay, all that part, your pelvic girdle, and this is your inferior vena cava. So both these blood vessels you have to mention. So in your book they have explained these two. There is one more blood vessel which your book has not explained. I don't know why. And that is coronary vein. Because coronary vein is carrying deoxygenated blood from the heart. So coronary vein should also open over here now, because all the deoxygenated blood first enters into the right atrium. So coronary veins now mostly you cannot see from the front side. Okay, this is the ventral side of the heart. Ventral is front, dorsal is back. So if I rotate this now by 180 degrees, then on the back side in this wall all the coronary veins are present together. So अगर मैं इसको पूरा घुमाता हूं ना, तो ये जो है ना, यहाँ पे सब ऐसे coronary veins जा रहे होंगे. Bunch of coronary veins are passing from the back side, and all these coronary veins open into the right atrium. So one more vessel you have to write when you are explaining about right atrium. You have to also write that coronary veins also open into the right atrium. तो अभी देखो तीन चीजें open हो रही है. एक तो है superior vena cava, second is inferior vena cava, and the third is all the coronary veins. One more additional thing, this is for all the NEET students. All the coronary veins, see coronary veins सब एक साथ ऐसे bunch में जा रहे हैं, बहुत सारे हैं. All these coronary veins together are called as the coronary sinus. If you see the diagram given in the book now, they have shown this diagram. They have also rotated the heart and shown the dorsal side. So if you see that diagram, now you will see this labeling coronary sinus, but they are not explained in external structure. So coronary sinus is that bunch. So all the coronary veins together, they are called as coronary sinus, but that you cannot see from the front. So I am going to rub this off. Is this clear? So right atrium के कौन से vessels है? 3 vessels है. तीनों भी vessels जो है वो veins है. तीनों भी vessels open हो रहे हैं right atrium में. तीनों भी क्या कर रहे हैं? They are getting deoxygenated blood. These two are getting deoxygenated blood from all the parts of the body. And this coronary sinus or coronary veins is getting deoxygenated blood from the heart. All the three are opening into the right atrium. Is this clear? Iske vessels clear hai? Now let us move to this. Okay. Already you know about these two coronary veins I added. Now this you already know. Which blood vessel will start from right ventricle? Do you remember? Pulmonary trunk. Yaad hai kya? So pulmonary trunk arises from the right ventricle. Okay, and this pulmonary trunk, it is a single blood vessel and it goes like this. Do you remember? So should I rub this off? Okay, so that it becomes easier for me to draw. And this blood vessel goes like this. Correct? And then what happens is this blood vessel then divides. It is also called as bifurcation. Bifurcation means to divide. When a single vessel divides into two vessels, this is called bifurcation. Roads भी कभी-कभी एक रोड में से दो roads होते हैं, उसको भी bifurcation ही बोलते हैं. So bifurcate means to divide into two parts. For example, you can say that the trachea divides or bifurcates. Sorry, the primary bronchi bifurcates into secondary bronchi, or you can say the trachea bifurcates into two primary bronchi. So bifurcation matlab divide. Is this clear? So this vessel is called pulmonary trunk. When the pulmonary trunk divides into smaller arteries, now this same pulmonary trunk is now called as pulmonary artery. So this is your pulmonary artery. Is this clear? This is also your pulmonary artery. This one is which pulmonary artery? Left. This one is which pulmonary artery? Right. This will take deoxygenated blood to the left lung. This will take deoxygenated blood to the right lung. Is this clear? Okay. So you already know about this. So yes, trunk and arteries, they are the same thing. But trunk means a thicker artery which normally divides to give more arteries. That is why this is called pulmonary trunk. This is pulmonary artery. I have to still explain you why this is called artery, but it is carrying deoxygenated blood. Okay, I will explain that to you later. Is this clear? So from the right ventricle, which vessels are going or coming? There is one vessel which is going pulmonary trunk and it divides into two vessels which are pulmonary arteries, left and right. Clear? Done. So we have finished with this and this. Now let us go to the left atrium vessels. Okay. Now, which vessels are attached to the left atrium? Very, very simple. Okay, first of all, let me rub this off. Okay, to avoid confusion. This is our atrioventricular septum or groove or sulcus, and this is our atrioventricular groove or septum or sulcus, also called as coronary sulcus. Okay. Now, लेफ्ट एट्रियम में कौन से वेसल्स आते हैं या जाते हैं? 4 वेसल्स आ रहे हैं. फ्रॉम वेयर? फ्रॉम द लंग्स. दे आर कॉल्ड एज व्हाट? पल्मोनरी वेन्स. सो नाउ सिंस दे आर कैरिंग ऑक्सीजनेटेड ब्लड, आई एम शोइंग विथ रेड कलर. सो 2 of them will come from the left side. They will open up like this. Then 2 of them will come from the right side. So they will pass from behind the right atrium. पीछे से connect हो रहे हैं left atrium को. So they will go like this. So all the 4 will open. So left atrium के अंदर कौन से blood vessels connect हो रहे हैं? सिर्फ pulmonary veins हो रहे हैं और वो 4 है. 2 from the left, 2 from the right. No other blood vessel is attached to the left atrium. Easy. Which blood will come in? Obviously oxygenated. But then don't explain that. आप external structure पढ़ा रहे हो, blood flow explain मत करो. Because blood flow you will explain in the internal structure. I hope this is clear. Okay. Now, last and the most important part, we come to the left ventricle. Which blood vessel is attached to the left ventricle? the most important artery of the body, the biggest artery of your body, which is called aorta, or it is also called systemic aorta. अभी aorta जो है वो aorta इसके ऊपर से जाता है. So this aorta is going above the pulmonary trunk and the pulmonary arteries. So what I am going to do is I am just going to rub some of the part. Okay, let me rub this off because I will be requiring this space. Okay, let me just reduce this and now let us draw the aorta. तो हम लोग एक काम करते हैं, aorta के लिए थोड़ा जगह बनाते हैं इधर, ठीक है, बाद में थोड़ा री-ड्रॉ करेंगे. Now the aorta is carrying oxygenated blood. I am using red color. So your aorta is like this. Just see now. Okay. और I will do one thing. इतना arch नहीं दिखाना है मुझे. Okay. Now there are three arteries which arise from the aorta, and this aorta goes like this from the back. Now again I will draw that original pulmonary trunk. So see your aorta na, it is like this, it is going from here, okay, and this is your septum, right? This is your septum, and here your pulmonary trunk is going. Pulmonary trunk is behind the aorta, so I will draw this pulmonary trunk, and obviously this will divide now, okay, and these are your divided branches. Is this clear? Pulmonary. Now this diagram is clear. Now let us talk about this aorta. This is aorta. This aorta is now divided into three parts. Now pay attention, okay? अभी बहुत सारे divisions है, ध्यान रखो. ये last part. Now, okay, before we start with aorta, so we have completed with the superior inferior vena cava. We have completed with coronary veins. We have completed with right atrium. Then right ventricle, we have shown the pulmonary trunk, pulmonary arteries, done. Left atrium, 4 pulmonary veins, done. And now left ventricle, aorta. Aorta के parts I will explain to you. But first, there is one more part, and this word most of the people find it very difficult to remember. ये मुझे भी याद रखने के लिए पहले मुश्किल होता था. Now, let me tell you this. There is a connection between the pulmonary trunk and the aorta. देखो अभी ध्यान से सुनो, समझ रहे हो? चाहिए तो वीडियो पॉज करो थोड़े टाइम के लिए. All that I have taught you, just take it in and then continue. Don't get confused. There is a connection between the pulmonary trunk and the aorta. Yes, this is carrying deoxygenated blood. This is carrying oxygenated blood. And this connection I am going to show with a green colored pen. So there is this connection between the two. Okay, now pay attention. ये जो कनेक्शन है उसका एक काम है. In the fetus heart, okay, what do you mean by fetal heart? So fetal means fetus का, okay, the word comes from fetus. What is a fetus? Fetus is the baby which is growing inside the uterus. Mother के uterus के अंदर जो baby है which is growing, that is called as a fetus. Okay, it is present in the uterus. वो आपको पता है. Now वो जो fetus का जो heart है ना, उसका जो circulatory system है ना थोड़ा अलग है. Our circulatory system is like this. Blood will go from here to the lungs. From the lungs it will go and then from the aorta to all the parts of the body. But fetus heart में एक ही problem है. Fetus is present inside the uterus and fetus के lungs काम नहीं करते. Baby is not breathing inside the uterus because uterus के अंदर there is liquid present, fluid is present. Okay, I will teach you that during reproduction chapter. So the baby cannot breathe because it is surrounded by liquid. So the baby's lungs are not working. So baby's heart is not getting oxygenated blood from the lungs. That fetus, it is not getting oxygenated blood from the lungs, it is getting from the mother. तो वो circulatory system अलग है, वो मैं अभी explain नहीं कर रहा हूँ. That is why in the fetus there is a connection between the pulmonary trunk and the aorta. So fetus के अंदर क्या होता है? Blood जो भी आता है वो यहाँ पे आएगा, pulmonary trunk से जाएगा. अभी देखो आगे, pulmonary trunk से there is a shortcut, and what happens is that shortcut is this passage. when that blood in the fetus is flowing through the pulmonary trunk, इधर तो जाएगा ही, लेकिन थोड़ा सा ऐसे डायरेक्टली भी चला जाएगा. So there is mixing of blood, okay? There is mixing of blood happening in the fetus, but don't worry, you don't have it, और वो थोड़ा complicated है, आप confuse हो जाओगे, so I am not going to teach you. If any one of you is interested, I will make a separate video on that, don't worry. So ये जो connection है fetus के अंदर, अपने अंदर नहीं, in the fetal heart, this connection between the pulmonary trunk and the aorta, this connection is called as, please pay attention, it is called as ductus arteriosus. Nice name, no? To remember, ductus arteriosus is a Latin name. Ductus means duct, tube. Arteriosus means it is connecting the pulmonary trunk with the aorta, which is the artery. This connection, which is present inside the fetal heart, the baby in the uterus, it has this connection. This connection is called ductus arteriosus. Naam yaad rehna hi chahiye. If you miss this word in external structure, you will lose marks. At least I will cut your marks if I am taking your exam. Now, what happens after the baby is born? So when the baby is born, it will start breathing, no? So then it doesn't require this shortcut. What happens is, as soon as the baby is born, this entire pathway gets sealed. ठीक है, यहाँ पे cells grow होके बंद कर देते हैं, block हो जाता है, ये tube block हो जाता है. अभी आपको यहाँ से यहाँ पे blood mix नहीं करना है. After the baby is born, now this blocked ductus arteriosus, it is given a different name. So after the baby is born, this ductus arteriosus gets blocked, and now this tube is called as, the name has been changed, and now it is called as ligamentum arteriosum. Very nice names, okay? Don't you think? So ductus arteriosus in fetus, now converted into ligamentum arteriosum in newborn baby. So all of us have this ligamentum arteriosum, but does the blood mix between these two? No. Why? Because this is blocked. Just imagine अगर ये open रहता तो आपको oxygenated deoxygenated blood mix होता, फायदा ही नहीं रहता कुछ. Fetus के heart के अंदर oxygenated blood is coming from the mother. Its lungs are not working, तो उसके अंदर वो connection ठीक है. लेकिन in us, our lungs are working, so this is sealed. Is this clear? Okay. Now let us come to the last part of this chapter, which is the aorta. I hope this ductus arteriosus, ligamentum arteriosum is clear. Both are Latin words, don't get confused. Some people write that ligamentum arteriosum is present in fetus, ductus arteriosus is present in adults. No, ulta. Ductus arteriosus in fetus, after the baby is born, quickly ductus arteriosus gets converted into ligamentum arteriosum, same thing, but this passage is now blocked. So now blood cannot enter from here to here. Is this clear? Okay, so I have written it over here. Okay, if you want, take 1 or 2 minutes. Okay, just see the diagram, just think of what I taught you, and then we will continue. We will complete with aorta. Okay. Okay. So if you want, you can pause the video if you want more time. Now, in your book they have used the word that this ligamentum arteriosum, it is a remnant. Okay, they have used this word. Please read the textbook. I hope everybody is reading the textbook after I am teaching or I am taking this lecture, because it is very important. They have used the word remnant. They have said that ligamentum arteriosum is a remnant of ductus arteriosus. Remnant means whatever remains. Ductus arteriosus was working in fetus, but now it is not working in the child or adult. That is why whatever ductus arteriosus is left now, which is not working, it is called as a remnant. कोई भी चीज जब काम नहीं करती और वो पार्ट रह जाता है तो उसको remnant बोलते हैं. Whatever part is remaining. So ligamentum arteriosum is a remnant of ductus arteriosus. This is clear? Done. Now let us start with the main part, which is your aorta, and with that our external structure will end. It is not very simple है, ये बड़ा part है. देखो अभी ध्यान दो. So left ventricle पे आते हैं. We have completed with all these three chambers. Left ventricle has the biggest artery in your body, which is called aorta, and this is also called as the systemic aorta. ये जो है, okay, and the systemic aorta is divided into three parts. Now pay attention, okay. First part is the part which is taking blood upwards. This part is called as ascending aorta. Why ascending? Because it is taking blood against the gravity, or it is taking blood in the upward direction. So this is called as the ascending aorta. You remember when we were learning with the colon, ascending colon, descending colon, in a similar way, this is ascending aorta. Now, similarly, this part of the aorta which is taking the oxygenated blood in the downward direction, it will be called as what? It will be called as descending aorta. Correct? So this is your descending aorta. And the third part of the aorta is this part which is an arc. Okay, this elliptical curve which is formed, this area is called as the aortic arch. Are you understanding this? So the aorta is divided into three parts: the ascending aorta, the descending aorta, and the aortic arch. This is clear? ये clear है? अभी all divisions है, इसके लिए मैं बता रहा हूँ. Again, if you want, you can pause the video. You can again rewind the video, play it back. You have that option with you. So do that. If you are clear with what I have taught you up till now, only then play this video forward. Now, aortic arch which is present, it is further divided, or it is further giving out three arteries. Okay, this is one artery, this is second artery, this is third artery. Now, this artery which is coming out from the aortic arch, so this area is the aortic arch. This artery is called as the Brachiocephalic artery. See, in this year's syllabus now they have added a lot of things. This was not there in last year's 12th standard. This aorta was only there. This division of the aorta, all that was not there. They have added it all in this year's syllabus, but it is a good thing. NEET students भी यहाँ पे ही सीख लेंगे. So this brachiocephalic artery is this first artery which is coming out from aortic arch. Second artery which is coming out from the aortic arch, this one, okay, this one is called as the left common carotid artery. Okay, if you want, I will write down over here. This artery, the second one which is coming from the aortic arch, it is called left common carotid artery. You have to remember this. Don't worry, I will explain why this is called left, because enough things are not given in your book. And this last artery coming out from the aortic arch is called, this one, this is called as the left subclavian artery. Subclavian, C-L-A-V-I-N. Is this clear? This is all that is given in your book, and with this we end our external structure of the heart. Wait, I have not finished with the lecture. Only this much information is given in the book about these three. Okay, but for NEET students I am going to add extra things in this lecture only, so that you will remember it. So first of all, aorta is divided into three parts: ascending aorta, descending aorta. Ascending will take oxygenated blood upwards, descending will take the oxygenated blood downwards, and the aortic arch is present between the two. Three arteries are originating from the aortic arch. The first one is called brachiocephalic artery. In your book they have not explained this supplies blood to which part. I will explain that to you so that it is easier to remember. Second artery arising from the aortic arch is called as left common carotid artery, because this artery now it is left common because it is going towards the left side. Similarly, this is called as the left subclavian, it is again going to the left side. Is this clear? So you remember these three arteries, that is it. So all those who are giving regular 12th standard, that is it. This is enough. For those who are giving NEET, now pay attention. I am going to teach the same thing over here. I am going to draw a different diagram over here so that you understand. So this is what? This is your ascending aorta. Now pay attention. Okay. This is your aorta. I am drawing a separate aorta diagram over here. Okay. This. Okay. Then this. And then this. Okay. This is your aorta. This is which aorta? Ascending aorta. This is which aorta? Descending aorta. And this is aortic arch. Now, this brachiocephalic artery, this is the one. This brachiocephalic artery further divides into two branches. ठीक है, ये pulmonary trunk की तरह काम कर रहा है, ये डिवाइड हो रहा है. जो आपके बुक में दिखाया नहीं है वो लोग ने, लेकिन अगर आप नीट के बारे में पूछते हो तो इन नीट दे हैव गिवन दिस. So this artery basically divides into two branches, okay, and it is like this. So this is your brachiocephalic artery. That is why this same artery is also called brachiocephalic trunk. You remember, trunk will always divide to give more arteries. So this is brachiocephalic artery, or it is brachiocephalic trunk, or it is also called as innominate artery. Innominate artery मतलब जो divide होके और arteries देगा. Clear? So brachiocephalic artery divides into two parts. Now see these labelings. This is left common carotid artery. अगर left common carotid artery है तो right common carotid artery भी रहेगा ना. So now this is your right common carotid artery. I am not writing artery. Similarly, इधर left subclavian artery है तो right subclavian भी रहेगा. This is your right subclavian. So right carotid and right subclavian are arising from this brachiocephalic artery I have shown over here. Now your two other arteries are over here. This is which one? This is called as the left common carotid artery, and this is which one? This is your left subclavian artery. Now is this clear? Left subclavian, right subclavian, left carotid, right carotid. This is just a trunk brachiocephalic. आप समझ रहे हो? अभी कैसे ये याद रखना है function wise? If they ask you board exam, so they will never ask you. If in NEET they ask you, very simple, right subclavian and left subclavian basically supply blood to the right and left side. So if right subclavian function is asked, then right subclavian supplies blood to the right arm. It supplies oxygenated blood to the right side of the neck and to the right side of the head. Left subclavian will supply blood, oxygenated blood to the left arm, left side of the neck and the left side of the head. Carotid arteries supply blood only to the neck and the head, not the arms. So the right carotid, right common carotid will supply oxygenated blood to the neck and the head. This will supply to the left side of the leg and the left side of the head. Obviously, brachiocephalic artery, it will supply blood to these two parts, and these two parts so you already know. Is this clear? Okay, the functions are clear. Functions are not given in the textbook. This is not given in the textbook. In the textbook only this is given. I hope this is clear, and that ends our blood vessels part, and that ends the entire external structure of the heart. In your book, it is taught in only one page. Okay, but so many things you have to remember. Now you understand why I am not teaching internal structure. Internal structure में और 10 नाम है जो आपको याद रखना है. Clear है? Very very important. Okay. Just read it 2 to 3 times. It will become easy. Most of the things you know, I have already taught you in the previous lecture. That is why I took that general anatomical lecture. Otherwise, यहाँ पे सब कुछ new हो जाएगा आपके लिए. Is this clear? So with that, we have completed external structure of the heart. Please remember this. Fetus के अंदर it is ductus arteriosus, and after the child is born, it is called ligamentum arteriosum. It is a remnant. Remember the vessels from here. Both vena cava, coronary vein, pulmonary trunk, pulmonary artery, 4 pulmonary veins, aorta. Also remember left ventricle के अंदर coronary arteries भी आते हैं. See, coronary artery means it supplies oxygenated blood to the heart. See, heart also needs oxygen, but aorta is not supplying oxygen. So there is a branch. ये जो aorta start होता है ना, इसमें से ही एक आर्टरी निकल के हार्ट को खुद को ब्लड देता है. ओके, एंड दैट ब्रांच इज कॉल्ड एज द कोरोनरी आर्टरी. ओके, एंड दीज कोरोनरी आर्टरीज are present in this septa. I have already told you. So coronary artery and the aorta both are the vessels attached to the left ventricle, not given in the book. Done. Now last part, aorta के parts remember: ascending, descending, systemic, aortic arch. Aortic arch further divided into 3 arteries: brachiocephalic artery, left common carotid artery, left subclavian artery. Done. Need students. Brachiocephalic artery further divided into right common carotid and right subclavian. Then these two will be same. This and this subclavian supply blood to the arm, neck and head respective side. This will supply blood to the neck and head. You know the pulse is sometimes measured when you put your finger on the neck. This pulse that you feel, that is the pulse of the carotid. And the blood pressure, or the pressure or the force with which the blood is flowing in this carotid artery, it is so much that just don't try to imagine. But if you cut a person's neck, then if I am standing over here, the force of the blood will be so much that it will go and touch the ceiling as a fountain होगा. इतने force से blood carotid artery से जाता है. Just giving you an example. Okay, so is that clear? We have finished with the external structure of the heart. Next lecture will be on internal structure. Please pay attention to this chapter. This is core anatomy chapter. Okay, done. That's it. Thank you for watching. Okay, next lecture we will be studying internal structure. Okay.